Okay, so we had some technical difficulties, and that's wild to me. I thought I streamed, I literally did a whole lesson, and somewhere the stream got cut off. And so I finished on Genesis 9. So we're going to go back um, and start on Genesis 5. I don't know what happened, but my stream literally stopped. And that's unfortunate because I won't have as much time to go through everything again today because I do have to go to work at some point. Um, but I literally went through 5 chapters and talked about everything, and I shared why I wanted to do this. So I'm going to try to remember all the points that I made, and all the stuff that I felt like was really good. But we're going to go through it again because if we got to go through it again, we got to go through it again. Um, so again, one of the reasons that I wanted to do this was I am a coach, and as a coach, I felt that I was leading people to one battleground, and I enjoyed being a part of that process. But I felt like there was something more important that I could be doing to help these people out, and so that's where I decided to like start trying to understand why I was feeling that push from God and some of the things that and like I had this inside of my heart, like in Spanish we say like una inquietud, which is like I was restless. I was restless and I felt like I needed to do something more. And so I feel like I need to be in my Bible a lot more and I need to be sharing a lot more. So here we go. So we're going to start again. This is the second time we're going to go through this lesson. So I might move a little bit faster just because I want to get through everything. But book 5 is Adam's descendants, right? And so let me go back in my Bible. Right, this is the genealogy of Adam. And it says the genealogy of the patriarchs. And so here it is, Adam's descendants. This is the book of the generations of Adams. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him, right? So I highlighted this point earlier, and I'm going to do it again. Right? In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him, right? So the first man was created in the likeness of God, right? Male and female created he them and blessed them and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. And Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness, right? So this is very important. God created man in the likeness of God, but when Adam had a son, the son was created in his own likeness. So no longer in the likeness of God, but in the likeness of Adam. And this is important because there was sin in the world now, right? Because they had already been cast out from the Garden of Eden. So I really want to highlight that point as it is important. And called his name Seth. And the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years, and he begat sons and daughters. And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died, right? So he's having a long period of life. This is something that I highlighted the last time we tried to go through this. And Seth lived 105 years and begat Enos. And Seth lived after he begat Enos 807 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enos lived 900 years and begat Canaan. And Enos lived after he begat Canaan 815 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enos were 905 years, and he died. And Canaan lived 70 years and begat Mahalalel. And Canaan lived after he begat Mahalalel 840 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Canaan were 900 years, or 910 years, and he died. And Mahalalel lived 65 years and begat Jared. And Mahalalel lived after he begat Jared 830 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died. And Jared lived 162 years, and he begat Enoch. And Jared lived after he begat Enoch 800 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And Enoch lived 65 years and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begat Methuselah 300 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him, right? So that's kind of a crazy thing right here, because he didn't die, right? It said God took him. Let's highlight that real quick. He walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. So he didn't have to die. But isn't it crazy, right? Like, how many days are there in a year? 365. And that's how long Enoch lived. All right, just quick little pinpoint. And Methuselah lived 187 years and begat Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begat Lamech 782 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years and begat his son, and he called his name Noah, saying, This same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because the ground which the Lord hath cursed. And Lamech lived after he begat Noah 595 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old. And Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Right? So we're going into Genesis 6. Right? And there was a very important thing that happened there. Like, only one person was able to walk directly into heaven with God. Right? All right. And so now we're in Genesis 6, and in my Bible, it's titled The Wickedness of the World. Right? So this is important for us to be able to see. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. Right? So they began to take wives, and God said, all right, you're not going to live as long. You're going to live 120 years. So that's like the average lifespan now at this time. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of man, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. All right, now this is important right here when we get to part number 5, right? And God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. That's really sad, right? As God sees, no matter what, sin is in the world. So no matter what, every man, his thoughts, the thoughts of his heart were only evil continually. And this one I've highlighted in my Bible, and I've highlighted it before because this one hurts right here, right? And it repented the Lord that he had made man on earth, and it grieved him at his heart. So imagine, he creates everything perfect. He creates this world for us. He puts us into the center of this Garden of Eden. He puts Adam into the center of the Garden of Eden, and he tells them, you can do anything except for eat this one thing, and they disobey him. And then he starts seeing that as these men start having children, that no matter what they do, they're sinful, they're wicked. And it makes him grieve. Like, if you've ever grieved, you understand the pain that grief can bring you, like the amount of stress it puts on you, because you're sad. Not only are you sad, there's true loss there. And so that's important. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I've created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and the creeping thing and all the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. So at this point right here, everybody can get it. Like, and everybody's going to get it, no matter what. Like, man or beast, everything's got to go. So he's done. He's fed up, right? But then this is what I was saying in the last lesson, and I'll bring it back. And I'm sorry that didn't record, but this is important, right? But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord, right? Imagine everything is wrong, but he sees one person that is worthy. And so because he found one person that is worthy, he's going to give an opportunity to save humanity because of this one person. And what I was saying is sometimes you don't you don't see the world as having any good in it, right? And I've heard even people who have trouble believing in God because, they feel like if the world's so evil, then, that there can't be a God or whatever. And it's like, nah, bro, that's not the way this works, right? One man was good. And because one man was good, God's going to try to save this one man, his family, and two of every kind of animal. And I'm going a little bit ahead here, but sometimes in your life, right, everything can be crap and there can be all kinds of evil around you and all kinds of messed up stuff. But if there's one good person in your life, you can find a reason to keep going and keep being strong. And by the way, if you can't find that one person, then it's probably because you got to be that person. And that's important to understand. So this right here means so much to me. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Right? Okay. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was just a man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. That's messed up. That's messed up, right? The ark. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. So now he's going to wipe them out with the same earth that he created back in Genesis, at the very beginning of Genesis. He's going to use the same earth to wipe them out. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Room shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make of it. Make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of its 50 cubits, and the height of 30 cubits. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above. And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. Now, I had a friend, Pastor Mike. He made reference to this the other day, and he said there was only one window, right? And a window shalt thou make in the ark, right? But then he says, and the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof, right? So now we're going to go into a little bit of foreshadowing, right? Because Jesus said, I am the door, right? And we'll look for that. And then it says, thou set in the side. So the door is set in the side, right? And so Jesus was pierced in his side, right? And so when his blood was spilt, it fulfills all of this right here, right? This is very important to remember because Jesus said, I am the door, I am the way, right? And so he was pierced in his side, and that's where blood and water spilt from. And the blood of Christ is what gave us the opportunity to now go to heaven, right? Because he was the ultimate sacrifice. So I just want to throw that in there while we're there, right? And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee I will establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee, and of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. Of the fowls after their kind, and of the cattle after their kind, and of every creeping thing on the earth after his kind, 2 of every sort shall come unto thee, to keep them alive. And take thou unto thee all of the food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah according to all that God commanded him, so did he. Right? So this is important. One person found favor in the eyes of God, and he's going to wipe out everything. But one person found favor in the eyes of God, so because of that, he's also going to spare all of these animals as well. Okay, let's go to Genesis 7. And Genesis 7 says, in my Bible, Noah, his family, and the creatures that entered. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and thy house into the ark, for thee I have seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by seven, the male and female, and of every beast that are not clean by two, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by seven, the male and the female, to keep the seed alive upon the face of the earth. For yet 7 days I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And this was a highlight that I said also, 40 days and 40 nights. Let's do a quick little search, right? How long did tempt Jesus? Right? The devil tempted Jesus for 40 days and 40 nights. Just remember that. Right? There's a lot of foreshadowing of Jesus coming, and there's a lot of like of when he gets here, and there's a lot of foreshadowing with the math. So don't forget that, right? So he resisted the devil for 40 days and 40 nights, and God literally is going to cause it to rain for 40 days and 40 nights. That must have been hell for these people, if I'm being honest with you. It must have been absolutely rough just being stuck there for 40 days and 40 nights. And by the way, the one thing that I mentioned earlier is, right, one thing that we don't see is that when this starts, this must have been really messed up for him, because everything's going to die. So imagine he knows, because he's been told by God that I'm going to wipe out the face of the earth. So he's preparing himself. But how many people probably weren't preparing themselves and they just continued in their wicked ways? But if you've ever been in any situation where there's mass panic, when there's panic, people go crazy and they're screaming and all kinds of stuff. And these people were probably in agony. They were drowning. You know what I mean? So this must have caused a bunch of mental stress for him as well. All right. For yet 7 days I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy off the face of the earth. And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of the waters was upon the earth. So again, he's not young when this is happening too, right? And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him into the ark, because of the waters of the flood, of clean beasts, and of the beasts that were not clean, and of the fowl, and of everything that creepeth upon the earth. There went in two and two unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were open upon the earth. So again, it's starting to rain now, and I'm assuming that the whole world at this point is going into panic. The great flood. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, in the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of the heaven were opened, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. In the selfsame day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth and the sons of Noah and Noah's wives and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creepeth thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto Noah in the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. This is very important right here. 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And they that went in, male and female of all flesh, as God has commanded him. Right? So just put a pin in that. Right? Wherein is the breath of life, 2 and 2 of all flesh, male and female. Right? As God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in, and the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased, and bare up the ark, and it was lift above the earth. And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went up upon the face of the waters, and the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole earth were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail. So if I'm not mistaken, we did this earlier, right? And 15 cubits is about 22 feet. So imagine above the highest mountain, the water was 22 feet above the highest mountain, if I'm not mistaken. 22.5 feet. Okay. So what's up? 15 cubits upwards did the water prevail, and the mountains were covered, and all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of the fowl and of the cattle and of the beasts and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land died. And every living substance that was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and of the creeping thing and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark, and the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. So again, I don't know if you've ever been stuck in any place with that many animals and that many people, right? Or the people, like 150 days is a long time to be stuck in one place. I just want to state that, right? Let's go next. We're going to go to Genesis 8. Hold on, I skipped a page of my Bible. One sec. So it's Genesis 8, and the highlight of my Bible is the waters subside, right? And God remembered Noah and every living thing and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. The fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained, and the waters returned from off the earth continually. And after the end of the 150 days, the waters were abated. And the ark rested in the 7th month on the 17th day of the month upon the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decreased continually until the 10th month. And in the 10th month, on the first day of the month, were the tops of the mountains seen. And it came to pass in the end of the 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made, and he sent forth a raven, which went forth to and fro until the waters were dried up from the face of the earth. Also he sent forth a dove from him to see if the waters were abated from off the face of the ground. But the dove found no rest for the sole of her feet, and she returned unto him into the ark, for the waters were on the face of the whole earth. When he put forth his hand and took her and pulled her unto him into the ark. And she stayed yet other 7 days. And he stayed yet other 7 days, and again he sent forth the dove out of the ark. So he waited a whole week. And the dove came into him in the evening, and lo, in her mouth was an olive leaf plucked off. So Noah knew that the waters were abated off the earth, and he stayed yet another 7 days, and sent forth the dove, which returned not again unto him any more. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the 1st month, and the 1st day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the earth, and Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. And in the 2nd month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month, was the earth dried. And God spake unto Noah, saying, Go forth of the ark, thou and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee. Bring forth with thee every living thing that is with thee, of all flesh, both of the fowl and of the cattle, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth, and be fruitful and multiply on earth. So God's commanding them to go be fruitful. And Noah went forth, and his sons and his wives, and his sons' wives with him, every beast, every creeping thing, and every fowl, of whatsoever creepeth upon the earth, after their kind, went forth out of the ark. That must have been one of the most peaceful moments. Like, imagine you've been stuck in this ark for, what was it, like 150 days is what we just read. And you're seeing nothing but water, and psychologically you've just dealt with so much death, massive amount of death, and you have to trust God, and God is finally allowing you to see that ground, right? It says, and Noah builded an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled a sweet savor, and the Lord said in his heart, and this is very, very important, what he's saying right here, right? I will not again curse the ground anymore for man's sake, right? So he's not going to curse the ground ever again, right? For man's sake. But then look what he says. For the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth, right? So he understands now that we're of a sinful nature, but he's not going to curse the ground anymore. And he literally just saved the best man he could find. All right? A man who found favor in his eyes, right? And he says again, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth, neither will I again smite any more everything living as I have done, while the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and the cold and the heat, summer and winter, and the day and night shall not cease. So that's very important, guys. That's very important. All right. So before we go, we're going to stop here at Genesis 9 because I do got to go to work. But this is a beautiful thing. And I just wanted to share with you guys. Again, thanks for being here. Thanks for reading the Bible with me. I'm going to continue to do this. We're going to go line by line through this thing. And we're going to see what's revealed to us as the Bible is the living word. And I believe it speaks to us. And so because of that, we're going to go through this line by line. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay blessed. Thanks for being here, and see you.